Okay, Nick Dutch here yet again, very quickly. As I carry on saying, eBay user GodMythology has asked me to do a little story about my journey. Okay, started off age about 3 or 4, started seeing ghosts as real as I am seeing this camera right now, but slightly translucent. Asked my mother what these things were. She said, oh yeah, maybe it's a ghost. I say, what's a ghost? Because I don't know what a ghost is. I'm a child, okay? From then on, I pestered my mother to only ever read me books about ghosts. So, of course, there was me thinking, because, you know, the problem with grown-ups is they often use words incorrectly or inappropriately and therefore communicate a message in a really, really bad and or unintelligent manner. And a lot of people have said, a lot of adults, grown-ups, teachers, and all the rest of it have said that you can learn from fiction. So that was me being a complete thick little kid, taking that too literally, and trying to learn about the supernatural through being read bedtime stories at the age of about 4 about, I know, Casper the Friendly Ghost or whatever the fuck it was. Which, of course, in retrospect is hilarious, but the interest was still there. And also on reflection, I was trying to do various things, like trying to make these things appear or ask them to join me and all the rest of it. So I was basically experimenting with some forms of what could be loosely described as being magic at the age of about 4 or 5. Age 6, we all moved to another town. Had to settle into a new school, stopped thinking about ghosts and supernatural and all the rest of that until my teens. When I come down with chronic fatigue syndrome, very big bad way. It's one of the worst diseases on the face of the planet, despite the fact that some people call it the yuppie flu because they don't understand it and they think it's a weak way of trying to get off work. It's in fact one of the worst fucking diseases on the face of the planet, okay? Still have it, but nowhere near as bad. During this time, my mother suggested to me that I do a certain variety of quasi-Buddhist chant thing that was pretty groovy at the time, namely Nam Mam Marengo Keo. And I started doing that. Every night I would do it. And I started trying to increase the quantity of time I could do this chant for and feel comfortable about it. And one day when no one else was in, I did the same chant, build it up to the point I was chanting it for 10 minutes and feeling really, really great because I put a lot of energy and excitement into it. And then I made a wish to see glimpses of the future in my dreams, and hey presto, it happened. Like, terrifying, man. And all I'm doing is telling you what's happened to me, okay? So I realized then that something was true, but I didn't know what. Which is more or less the same way I'm seeing the world now, okay? But obviously something was true. I had to find out more. Now I started to use my benefits money to go to New Age bookshops and pick up books on spiritual healing and all the rest of it. The more New Age book orientated carried on saying things like you should be in the company of other magicians to be able to learn more, and so that's what eventually brought me into the local pagan link groups in my area, where I just sat down and just heard a complete and utter load of bollocks and basically didn't actually learn anything at all apart from hearing people defending their religious stances. Because that was just religious talk, really. People often use words such as discovery or discovered, when in fact they just meant believed. People would often use words like, we know this, that, and the other, when in fact they actually meant, we believe. So that was pissing me off. I tried to find one particular person in this group who could possibly, you know, help out. So I'm just going to check the time on the clock. Yeah, we're still doing well. Okay, try to find one particular character who could help me. There was one who was rather sympathetic towards me. And that's when my life really started to go downhill in a very big way. This guy treated me really rather badly. And so did his coven. And that's when, you know, I had these people saying things like, the only real law is the law of the gun. We want a world in which, you know, it's only the person with the biggest gun who's in charge. You know, I mean, what the fuck? This character went on about how he revered what was the serial killers, and oh god. And then of course the leader of the coven carried on about, you know, if you fuck with one god, they will fuck with you. If you give lip service to one god, then another god will fuck with you. And oh, Jesus, oh, this evil shit being poured into my head all the time. I ease myself out, essentially using Christianity, and that's when I experienced the Toronto blessing. You know, that's when you actually feel the Holy Spirit entering into your body. Give it a go. If you don't believe it, I don't care. Just go and give it a go. It's great, all right? You don't even have to be a Christian. Just tell them you're a Christian. It's good. And then that also expands, you know, your mind as to what else could be possible. You start feeding the bioplasmic energy. You can start doing more things with it. Where else did I go from there? My parents bullied me away from the one and only job that I knew I could do, which is, of course, tarot. And I ended up going through a course in counseling theory and practice to see whether I could become a counselor. That didn't do too well. Didn't access courses, got me into university, scraped it by that much, did university, got drunk. For 3 fucking years, racked up a massive debt. Couldn't handle it. But still got a degree. What happened then after? Tried working for people. Got treated like shit. The very last full-time job I had, I actually turned around to the boss and used the C word at him because, you know, I just couldn't tolerate being treated like a worm anymore. You know what I mean? I suppose I was that far away from physically injuring him. Anyway. Set up my own business doing a bit of 3D computer generated imagery, as you've seen from like the Christmas video I've done, which is quite fun but not very high tech, but you know, I use that technology and I had a few little sales and then that was quite good and did okay for a while. Wasn't perfect, so I then went into self-employed recruitment, got a few sales, even as much like £7,500 whoopee, but you know, my character, my nature wasn't designed for that, and that brought me back into tarot. And because I actually heard this little voice in the dead of the night, a very high-pitched, silvery, thin tone saying, pick up the tarot again. And so I did. That's essentially my journey from being like a 4-year-old kid who's being read stories about ghosts when he was a child to being this, I suppose, thinking occultist you got these days who happens to be a professional entertainer. I mean, obviously, tarot is an entertainment service, because if you see it as being like, oh, the way, the truth, and the light, and the law of the universe, then it's not, you know, it can't do you any good. You don't need to invest too much trust in your reader. You can use a reader to get a different perspective, but some readers are better than others, if you get my drift, you know what I mean? That's why it should be regarded as an entertainment service. That's just my humble opinion. Different people say different things. Relax, don't hound me. But essentially that's what's led me to being what I am. And yes, I still do ritual. I still get the sensation experience of angels and archangels because I do ritual to try and create them, which is based well, using either the Wiccan circle casting or the conjuration of the four, as mentioned by Eliphas Levy in Transcendental Magic, and of course using the knowledge I've gained from Barbara Ann Brennan's books on spiritual healing. Been off drink for 5 1/3 years or thereabouts. Don't take drugs. Then I actually want people to. I mean, all the time I spent in those pagan groups. Sorry, just going to check the time again. I haven't set up my stopwatch today. Okay, because all the time I spent in those pagan groups and the Wiccan circles and all the rest of that, that taught me how powerful belief is, and how powerful belief can convince you that some things are knowledge when they're not knowledge. They are belief. They've shown me that it's quite easy for an otherwise potentially intelligent individual to lose their intelligence through religion. They've shown me a lot of things. So, obviously, the experience can be useful, but by my limited experience, only by antithesis. But that is only my limited experience. Okay? Don't fucking burn me, alright? Chill out. Okay, Nick Dutch signing out. Speak to you soon. Bye for now.